Good morning and a warm welcome. I'm Holly and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. This is the Global Markets Roundup, and in today's show we'll be exploring the latest updates from the equity, currency and commodity markets from across the globe. Let's first have a look at the US market performance at yesterday's closing. Well, global stocks held close to record highs while US Treasury yields and the dollar firmed on Thursday, as the debate continued over whether the Federal Reserve will start to ease stimulus. MSCI's gauge of stocks across the globe, which hit a record high on Wednesday, gained 0.04%, while the S&P 500 was up 0.30% and the Dow Jones rose 0.04% as well. The Nasdaq Composite gained 0.35% and the small cap Russell 2000 was down, however, 0.28%. The US Producer Price Index rose 1% in July, after seeing a similar rise in the previous month. The Labor Department's latest data showed on Thursday. And PPI surged 7.8% in the 12 months ending July, the highest annual jump since 2010. However, the figures indicate inflation could remain high due to continued supply and demand mismatch. Investors kept away from the economy-sensitive stocks after the PPI data. On Wednesday, these stocks saw significant gains. And coming back to the market updates, healthcare and tech stocks were the top movers on the S&P 500 on Thursday. 6 of the 11 index segments stayed in the negative territory. Energy and industrial stocks were the laggards. Investors were eagerly waiting for Airbnb, DoorDash, Walt Disney's quarterly results, which are expected to come after the closing bell. And Chinese internet company Baidu also reported its second quarter earnings per share came in at 15.41 US on revenue of 31.35 billion, beating analyst expectations. However, the stock fell 3.46% in the intraday trading. Moving on now to futures and commodities, gold futures were up 0.05%, as silver decreased 1.47%, and copper dropped as well by 0.10%. Brent oil futures decreased by 0.03%, and WTI was down as well 0.48%. Now to the bond market, the 30-year Treasury bond yields were down 0.06%, while the 10-year bond yields rose 0.13%, and US dollar futures index increased by 0.10%. So that's how the US market performed. It's time now for a short break, but after the break, we'll be looking at the stock markets in Europe and Asia. So stay tuned with Kalkine TV.
Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
Sectoral coverage or industry news.
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
With Kalkine TV. Welcome back, I'm Holly and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. This is the Global Markets Roundup. Let's have a look now at the European and Asian share market performance. Well, European shares rose on Thursday, hitting yet another record high, and strong earnings from insurers and M&A activity, and the UK helped offset a fall in mining stocks. The Pan-European Stocks 600 index inched up 0.1%, extending gains to a ninth consecutive session. The London markets traded on a mixed note after the release of various macroeconomic indicators. According to the latest figure of the Office from National Statistics, UK GDP has shown a quarter-on-quarter growth of around 4.80% during the second quarter of 21. Moreover, the UK manufacturing production grew by around 13.90% on a year-to-date basis during the June 2021. Eurozone government bonds were changed to slightly firmer on Thursday, with Germany's benchmark bond holding just below a 2-week high, as markets continue to digest signs of easing inflationary pressures in the US. That had helped lift Germany's 10-year yield as high as 0.435% on Wednesday, but by 14.55 Greenwich time on Thursday it was 0.459%, or flat on the day. Its Italian equivalent slipped 2.5 basis points at 0.546%. And now onto the Asian markets. Japanese shares fell on Thursday after 4 straight sessions of gains, as chip-related shares were hit by concerns that their best days may be over, and supplies are coming back. The tech-heavy Nikkei shares average fell 0.20%, with its early gains blocked by resistance from a downward sloping trend line at around 28.270. And Chinese stocks fell on Thursday as weaker than expected lending data triggered liquidity concerns and weighed on sentiment. The blue chip CS1 300 index fell 0.8%, while Shanghai's composite index lost 0.2% as well. South Korean shares slipped for a 6th straight session on Thursday as foreign investors offloaded heavyweight chip stocks, Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix. The benchmark Kospi fell 12.37 points, or 0.38%, to 3,208.25. And that's how the Europe and Asian market performed. It's now time for another short break, but after the break, we'll be looking at the stock market in Australia, so stay tuned.
Has your week hit you for 6? Barely had time to breathe, let alone throw a flick pass? Well, don't worry, Kalkine has all your sporting action covered. Each episode, I'll bring you the biggest sports news of the week. Exclusive interviews with athletes, sports commentators and journalists. Plus, we'll also look at the finances off the field from new broadcast deals, sports commercial partnerships and more with sports business. So for a sports show that tackles all the big issues, ball and all, join me, James Preston, for Game On every Friday, exclusive to Kalkine TV.
Welcome back. I'm Holly and you're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. This is the Global Markets Roundup. In this last segment, let's explore market close to home. The ASX 200 closed 0.05% higher on Thursday as crude oil prices declined on Thursday after the International Energy Agency raised concerns over the fast spread of the coronavirus Delta variant, which could hurt the recovery of global oil demand. US crude oil futures closed 0.2% lower, and Brent crude futures settled down 0.2% as well. Energy stocks like Woodside Petroleum and Santos could be trading lower today, and energy-listed gold stocks like St. Barbara and Newcrest Mining could trade higher today as well. Meanwhile, iron ore futures fell on concerns over steel output controls in China. The most traded iron ore, China's Dalian Commodity Exchange, ended 2.2% lower. And benchmark nickel prices on the London Metal Exchange added 1.7%, however, as gold prices traded marginally above the key 1,750 US mark after expectations of an early taper by the reserve eased, counterbalancing a stronger dollar and yields. Spot gold was flat and US gold futures settled 0.1% down. Alright then, that is just about all for now, but stay tuned with Kalkine TV for more live market updates. We'll be back with more news on markets, economies and diverse themes and sectors. Holly Shields signing off.